Why 10% of a Pacific Island nation's military is taking part in U.S.-led training. Welcome to VOA Asia Weekly. I'm Chris Casquejo in Washington. That story is coming up, but first, making headlines. Sri Lankan lawmakers chose six-time Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe as president to succeed ousted leader Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who fled the bankrupt country engulfed in civil turmoil. A news report that U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi plans a trip to Taiwan drew a warning from China. A foreign ministry spokesman said the visit would be a severe shock to the political foundation of China-U.S. relations. South Korean Foreign Minister Park Jin met Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in Tokyo. They hope to resolve historical issues and better cooperate to address challenges such as nuclear North Korea. South Korea's first domestically developed fighter jet successfully completed its first test flight as nuclear and missile threats from neighboring North Korea escalate. East Timor President Jose Ramos Horta met his counterpart Joko Widodo on his first state visit to neighboring Indonesia. East Timor, which suffered from 2 decades of Indonesian occupation until 2002, hopes to join ASEAN and boost trade with Indonesia. Nearly 10% of the Kingdom of Tonga's fighting force is in Hawaii this month. The tiny kingdom is the only South Pacific island nation participating in the Rim of the Pacific naval exercises, just as the region finds itself at the center of competing U.S. and Chinese diplomatic and military efforts. VOA's Jessica Stone reports from Honolulu, Hawaii.
These Tongan Marines are building personal alliances here in Hawaii to protect the future of the South Pacific. Lieutenant Felice Ciali leads the platoon.
It's really important because we don't have this kind of training environment back at home. So this is very complex for us to operate, especially my platoon.
The tiny island kingdom sent 10% of its entire military to the Rim of the Pacific naval exercises. On the way, they spent 2 weeks in Australia to overcome differences in equipment, language, and culture.
With 26 different countries represented here at this naval exercise, you can imagine the kinds of communication problems that can present themselves. But one thing that's interesting is that there actually are very few translators. In fact, the way they mostly communicate is either through hand signals or through leadership that can also speak English.
The boys start to have a deeper understanding of their cultures, especially and also their languages and how to make friends to them.
Tonga and other South Pacific nations are now at the heart of the U.S.-China strategic competition in the Indo-Pacific. Since May, the region has hosted Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong, and U.S. Special Envoy Joseph Yun. And last week, Vice President Kamala Harris spoke remotely at the Pacific Islands Forum.
The United States will launch the process to establish 2 new embassies in the region, one in Tonga, one in Kiribati.
The Vice President Harris initiatives are really terrific in terms of U.S. role and U.S. engagement, but they are contingent on congressional authorization.
Randy Shriver, former Assistant Secretary of Defense for Indo-Pacific Security, says renewed U.S. engagement is already translating into action. Just days ago, a key leader in the Pacific Islands openly criticized Beijing for its failed attempt to sign the region to a security agreement.
So it's really strong evidence that China is overstepping here and trying to shape the region in ways that are really uncomfortable for our Pacific Island friends.
We gotta get lined up. They want a photo.
Which is why, he says, that the relationships formed here at the Rim of the Pacific naval exercises are so important. Jessica Stone, VOA News, Honolulu, Hawaii.
Visit our website, voanews.com, for the most up-to-date stories. You're watching VOA Asia Weekly. Myanmar's deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi was absent from an official ceremony commemorating the assassination of her father, the country's independence hero, 75 years ago. The Martyrs' Day commemoration marks the anniversary of the murder in 1947 of General Aung San and 8 of his closest comrades. Finally, on VOA Asia Weekly, more than 2,700 people, including foreigners, gathered for a laughter yoga session in Bali, Indonesia. The founder of the movement said just 10 to 15 minutes of laughter yoga can reduce stress. Thanks for watching VOA Asia Weekly. I'm Chris Casquejo. Until next week.